Girls of Reddit, what is the most obvious sign you gave to a guy and he didn't get it? Once I invited someone to take a bath with me and like 3 weeks later they were like, wait, were you flirting with me? Lol. No, I'm just scared to bath alone. Any body of water is dangerous without a lifeguard. I missed something similar. In college my co-worker was giving me a tour of our workstation and we passed the Picasso rug. She said, "Could you imagine being naked in it?" I answered, "It looks filthy." See, my wife and I would both think a rug is filthy and wouldn't want to roll around on it. Get someone who gets you. I asked my current boyfriend to sleep in my bed. He got in fully clothed and was shocked when I took mine off. He got it though. I took a friend who's a girl out to the bars to help her get over a bad breakup. I'm a dude. We both got absolutely plastered and ended up back at her place, a studio apartment. The only place to sleep was her bed, so that's where I laid down. She stripped down to her lingerie and laid really close to me, basically cuddling me. I laid there in my jeans and button shirt all night. Lol. My now fiancé told me he liked me, and I told him I wanted to get to know him. We went on a date and at the end of the night we kissed and arranged a second date. I told him later that night that I liked him back. After a few days he messaged me, "But do you mean like as a friend, or do we like each other the same way? I'm sorry, but you have to spell it out for me. I don't want to get the wrong impression." Edit. I've shown him this post and he is both mortified I would share this with people and humbled by the amount of upvotes and comments. He says he wanted to be sure so he didn't make an ass of himself when he asked me to be his girlfriend. We worked together at the time and apparently he would have had to quit his job and live in a hole somewhere out of humiliation if I said no. Hey, give it to the man for getting straight to the point. And it worked. I'm loving these stories of the super sweet and careful man making sure they know exactly what's going on. It's so wholesome. He was just being sure. Reminds me of that casually explained YouTuber. Yeah, you meet a lady at a bar, you guys flirt, go back to hers, the clothes are coming off and you guys have sex. Does she like you? Yeah, even here you can't ever really be too sure. Girl I worked with when I was 18 or 19, ran her finger up and down the button-up shirt seam where the buttons are, said, "I always wanted to ride in a Mustang. I owned a classic one, 1965, and I was like, oh cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. I can give you a lift home after work if you want." And then I did and she was all, "You want to come up and watch a movie?" And that's when I hit a deep clueless nerd and said I would, but I'm meeting some friends to play D&D. Yeah. Peak nerd. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Thank you kind strangers for my brief and fleeting internet fame. Edit 2. For those asking, here's one of the old pictures of the car to have survived the 30-ish years since I had it link. You did a good thing. Ditching your friends to have sex is kind of a dick move. Looks like you rolled a one there, pal. After a class in university, a girl who I had already pointed out to a friend, I thought she was hot, came up to me and said, "Your name's so-and-so, you're in my class, how did you get so smart?" I was stunned. Like a deer in headlights. I replied, "I watch a lot of TV." Why do I love this? Because I was brain in my head smart, not brain between my legs smart. Well, this happened to me as a guy. She was on my bed and looked at me dead in the eye and said, "People tell me I give great blowjobs." And I looked at her straight-faced and said, "Nice, good for you." She had the most disappointed face I've ever seen a woman have. Jesus Christ, mate, if your dick is as thick as your head, she missed out on a huge opportunity. Me too would have been a better reply. With my boyfriend, on our first date he didn't give me a kiss and left and I just said, "What, no kiss?" And he just awkwardly laughed and walked away. I thought I blew it or something. Second date he asked me to his apartment. I asked if I could take my pants off since they were uncomfortable and we laid on the bed watching a movie. I had my leg over his body and left leaning in close for a kiss, and he didn't kiss me. He finally kissed me when I was about to leave and was in the middle of talking when he did it. Lamau. Edit. He and I were talking about it and what was going through our minds during it. He told me that he didn't want to be rude and kiss me on the first date, and that he kind of walked away so quickly was because he was nervous. On the second date, we were actually going to a race, but it was cancelled, and since I was an hour in the city during the night, he invited me to his apartment. I was wearing jeans at the time and I didn't want to lay in his bed with jeans. Ha ha ha, my pants are too uncomfortable? That sounds like the start of a low-rent porno. I had a female acquaintance I got high and watched movies with. She came over in a sheer tank top and no bra. I took no hints, and kept my eyes on her face because my mommy taught me not to stare. I think she got fed up, because I did not see her again after that. It's okay bro, my mom taught me the same thing. How did she teach you though? By having nips out and telling you not to look? That's not how your mom taught you not to stare at boobs. I literally told him I think you are cute, we should date, and he didn't even blink. Fast forward 4 years and he texted me if I was serious back then. I said yes, then he felt like an idiot because he had a huge crush on me too. We're best friends now though. And girls think the subtle signs will work when shit like this doesn't even have a 100% success rate. That goes for hints about gifts too. Ooh, that top looks cute, is a random comment. Ooh, that top would make a nice gift for my birthday next week. A subtle hint. I said to him I like you and I would go out with you, and he was like cool, thanks. I took that as he didn't like me like that and just wanted to be friends. Fast forward a few months and I kissed him and he was like, whoa, you like me? Yeah dumbass, I told you that. He thought I was just being nice to him. We're married now. Even being straightforward they still don't get it. This is so cute. I'm not a girl, but the idiot guy. I had just met the best friend of my best mate's girlfriend. She got more physical throughout the night to a point where she was constantly touching me. And while we were at a strip club, her idea, she suggested we leave as my best mate and his girlfriend had disappeared. We were both a bit drunk at this point and decided to get a cab home. When the cab pulled up at her place, she asked if I wanted to stay the night and she would drive me home in the morning. Me, being the polar opposite of Stephen Hawking, said nah, it's fine, my place is only a few minutes away. Once I got back to my place, the driver asked if I was gay and everything hit me at once. Ended up back at her place a few weeks later after my mate explained just how dumb I am. Damn, you know it's bad when the cab driver asks if you're gay. That's just another missed signal. Dude accidentally shot down 2 people that night. Reminds me of my old colleague, F, at school, which I met again 12 years later. We hung out a lot, had fun, and I always walked home with her. Then she asked if I want to stay with her because my way home was so far, 25 minutes by foot, and it was so cold, winter. Quite okay, but I declined every time because it isn't that far and I am not freezing. Then we made an appointment to go to a ski jumping event. The night before we left with her car, she asked me to meet at her brother's favorite bar because she needed something from him. We met there. After a few drinks we walked to her place. She asked again. This time she said that it would be much easier the next day to drive together from her place. Sounds logical, doesn't it? Much better than before. Up in her apartment, she started to prepare the couch and turned to me. To get up in time tomorrow, wouldn't it be better if you joined me in my bed? And suddenly I got it. I got all of it and felt so dumb about the many times, and even this time, before. We sometimes need definitely much clearer signs. I'm the guy, I'll give you one from middle school. 7th grade me, talking to a bunch of kids on the last day of school, including a cute 8th grade girl who I had gym with. As I leave, she yells, "Hey, John Ginn 832. I don't have your number." Comment to which I reply, "Yay, I don't have yours either. Bye." I'm going to lie and say I instantly regretted it. There were rumors in my store that I liked one guy and that he liked me back, but we were too stupid to admit it to each other. One day I was fed up with all of this and decided to take action. So in front of everyone I shouted at him from the opposite side of the department, "Hey name, I like you, okay?" He turned and shouted back, "Thank you." We dated for 3 months, then we broke up. Sat on his lap. He got up and found me a chair. "Thanks, Andrew." Might have been me depending on age. My bad. Guy here. Sophomore year of college, me and this girl had an economics class where every week we had to take those little 10-question quizzes. One day we're walking out together and she goes, "I found all the answers to the quizzes on Quizlet. I'd send them to you, but I don't have your number," and I said, "Oh, they're on Quizlet, huh?" and walked off towards my next class. Edit. We had been flirting a bit for a few weeks before this, and it was definitely a play for my number. I was just a goober and was entirely oblivious. Am a guy, but many moons ago as I was leaving her apartment late one night, "Girl, you don't want to spend the night?" Me. "Why? I live like 2 blocks from here." I went home. She was pissed. Now married almost 8 years. I'm not a girl, but many years ago a girl once told me she was a diagnosed nymphomaniac, that she absolutely needed to have sex when she was horny, and that she was horny right then, as we hung out alone together in my band's practice space, which had a great big couch in it. I asked her questions about the psychology and then offered her a ride home. I figured it out days later when another girl told me how fucking oblivious I was. Edit. For the record, she was not a diagnosed nymphomaniac. She was just horny and trying to be really obvious about it. Guy here. She slept in my twin bed with me. Twice. The second night, she spent an hour leading up to bed talking about sex. I slept fully clothed right next to her. Both times. Edit. And the best part. She talked about overhearing a couple having sex in the freshman dorms a year earlier. It was too dark to see in, so she and her friends crept up to the open window to listen. Curious, I coaxed her down the stairs and into my car and drove us over to the dorms. I parked and pointed at a first-floor window. She laughed and asked if I'd heard them too. I told her that it was my room last year. I drove us back, tucked her in, and played Street Fighter 3, Third Strike for an hour before falling asleep next to her. Told the guy I liked, now my boyfriend, that I was single and was looking for a boyfriend, and he just want to have fun. That's always difficult. Then later in the conversation I ended up calling him hot and boyfriend material. Yeah, bad joke I know, and he was like, haha thanks. 3 hours afterwards he texted me and was like, wait, were you flirting with me? Now we're dating and I like to tease him about his constant obliviousness. Early on with my husband, at the time just random internet person I had become friends with, he was talking about his motorcycle. Very obviously coming on to him, I go, yeah? So when are you going to take me for a ride on that thing? I was being like, over the top lascivious about it too. And in complete seriousness he replied that he doesn't take on passengers because he can't handle the added responsibility, and he actually removed his passenger pegs. I like to tease him about it to this day, though I've added in an emo hair flip to go with the line about the passenger pegs. I love him, but man, he can be dense. The first time we hooked up we were making out on his couch. A bit later, he gets up to go to bed and sets me up to sleep on the couch. Which is fine, he wasn't being pushy or presumptuous, I admired that. But I also wanted to get laid, so I go, or maybe I could sleep with you? I swear I smelled the gears in his head burning as they ground to a halt and changed direction. Edit some words now that more than 3 people have read my horrible QWERTY typing. Am I the only one whose non-dominant thumb is just not even remotely coordinated enough for these things? I'm Misty9. Get off my lawn. What do you think about these stories? Leave a comment. And subscribe to this channel if you wanna see more same videos.